So we're live. At this, hey. So we'll see how it goes with.
Why don't I see? I don't seem to see an email, Larry, from you
Huh.
today.
That's okay. I'll send it later.
Okay.
So why don't I call to order the meeting of the advisory committee? I hear sort of an echo in here, but I guess I'll get used to it. I'm calling this meeting to order. What we'll do is.
Oh, you mean the one at 2:50 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. See, what happened is that sometimes, Larry, I filter on your personal email address. This one was sent out from the work email address
work,
of the
yeah.
Bank of New.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yep, I see it now. Thank you.
That's it's a very good report.
Yeah,
from
but
the
I'm not sure
Federal
everyone else
Reserve
can.
Bank of Boston on the
If you can
state
hear me,
of
raise your
New
hand.
England and Massachusetts.
0. If you can hear me.
Oh, thank you.
nod your
I'll
head.
undo my filter so we can accept both of your emails.
Okay,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Hello, Jack.
Hey, I gather that I'm now in.
Check one. Check one.
You're in.
That's loud.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? No.
Dennis is on.
Raise your hand if you hear me.
Hey, Dennis.
We don't see you, Dennis. Let me set my setting.
I see him.
I see Tom.
Hello, Dennis.
Marco.
Bernard, yeah.
They can hear each other and see
Seth
each
is
other.
like
But
100 miles away up there.
He's lonely.
I don't see Seth.
But he's on mute. He's on the BOS user.
I did
Oh, I see
him
him.
a
Yeah.
text to tell him to unmute
Can you hear
himself,
us?
but he hasn't
Not Paul
said
next
anything.
over there? He's socially
that's
distancing
Michael Weber
here.
in there, so he's doing a.
Just to let you guys know, so it will show up as mute under BOS user because the sound is actually coming from Michael Weber through the Foxborough.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
show up as mute.
For the folks that are on Zoom, can you hear me?
Okay, good.
Thank you, Mark.
Nope.
We tested it literally 5 minutes before we started.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You were here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Can you guys hear us?
They can hear each other, though. I mean, I can always join the Zoom chat from my laptop.
Now it's interesting. Someone is calling from an iPhone, and it's hard to tell the name. It just says iPhone.
Is someone spying on you, Bernard?
We get Zoom bombed.
How about now?
Can you hear us? Anyone? Hear me?
Hey,
Oh,
Dan.
I think that's a yes.
Bueller?
Yes, Michael.
Bueller?
Everyone who can hear me, raise your hand.
Ah! Tom does not raise his hand.
More than half.
Tom's
Okay.
just staring at us.
More than half. So, Mike, I unmuted on this laptop over here. Maybe I should turn the volume up on it?
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a text and it froze my camera.
Let's see, control. Actually, Mike.
Brian dialed here.
I turned the volume up here now, so.
It works. And we'll take it.
All right, so I guess now I'll actually call to order this meeting of the advisory committee. Thanks everybody for jumping on. Let's see. So first of all, just for committee members, I had a conversation with Bill Keegan and George Samia this afternoon, and we had a conversation about revenue projections for 2021. They were actually planning on coming in tonight and for us to have that conversation. I let them know that we already had several voting items on the agenda for the first part of our meeting, and then the second part being some discussion on some of the votes that we've taken already to this point. So in addition to the fact that he was going to have a conversation and a presentation to the Board of Selectmen next week ahead of our next meeting. So we decided to push that conversation out to next week's meeting, where Bill and George will come in and we'll discuss some of the revenue projections. So what we're doing tonight, I know there's a lot of great thoughts, questions about everything that's going on. It's a crazy, turbulent time. But what we'll try to do is continue with the program as we have thus far in terms of voting on culture, recreation, and human services. That being said, that budget has been revised since our budget books were distributed. So we will be going back and forth potentially between budget books, or if you have the most current, hopefully you have the most current file that I would have sent to you that Bill had forwarded, which has some reductions. In fact, it's all of the incremental headcount that had been added to the 2021 budget has been effectively eliminated from the most current iteration of the 2021 proposal. Okay? Looking for one head nod, just so I know someone's, there we go, Paul, thanks. All right. So, let's see.
I count 9 committee members here. Dan is the only one who's not making it tonight.
I'm here.
Dan's there.
Oh, Dan's
there.
Oh, Dan's there. Okay.
Dan's sitting down the row from me.
All right.
So, I don't want to yell into this thing, but right now what we'll do is we'll begin with our discussion and most likely followed by voting on the, as we mentioned, culture, recreation, and human services. We had those presentations, seems like years ago, and because Ali Rodriguez is here, we'll start with veteran services. So if everyone can just take a second and find your notes, refresh your memory, and we're going to go to the veteran services budget section, which is
543.
Seth, sorry, something must be happening at your end. There seemed to be quite a bit of noise, and it seemed to be coming from Mike's. There's an interaction between the BOS user and Mike, so I'm not sure if everybody, but like I cannot hear what you just said.
It's the same here too. It's a lot of feedback, a lot of echo.
Yeah.
Right, the echo seemed to be coming from Mike's area, and also the other thing is that someone joined us and all it says is iPhone. So for set purpose, not sure if we can know who's the iPhone because there is no name.
that should be Mark.
We have to take a roll call.
That would be me, Pauline.
Right, no, we see you, Pauline. It says Pauline's iPhone, but there is one that just says iPhone.
Bernard, is this better? Is the audio better now?
That's Kevin Penders from the library board.
Ah, okay, Kevin, thank you. Yep, that was you. Thank you.
Bernard and Larry, is the audio better? Are you hearing better?
No, it's actually worse. Mike, when it goes to your phone versus the BOS user, yours doesn't seem to work very well. We hear Seth better when it's coming from the BOS_user.
Is this better?
No.
Mike made
Nope,
an
not better.
adjustment.
Mike, the way it was at the beginning seemed to be much better under the BOS user.
It says the way it was in the beginning was better.
I hit volume up, so there might be some feedback, but I don't know. I'm just guessing. I turned up the.
Now we hear it better again.
Oh, now it's good, he says.
Now it's better?
Yeah.
Should I just stand here?
Is my mic distorted?
Now we hear the mic better also.
Okay.
Dan, your mic is good.
Would they hear me on this? Okay, that's fine.
Should be good now.
We'll try to continue and let me know if we're still struggling. Okay. Okay. So we have, as I mentioned, Ali is here. She's already presented, and so we went through this budget And if you compare the budget book to the Veterans 543 tab in the new budget file, you'll note that the values are the same at 331,500 and change. Okay? Everyone see that?
Yes.
There was no reduction. The increase there over 2020 budget is 3.28%. Right?
Right.
And as we look at this budget, it was a pretty, in my opinion, and this is just us committee folks chatting now, pretty straightforward budget, justified where we had increases. And I'm opening the floor to hear other input on the Veteran Services budget proposal. One item is the 8,000 increase in ordinary benefits. And as is noted, reimbursed 75% by the state. Is that right, Ally?
That's right.
Right. Is that for the entire 190? Or just the increase, or?
No, everything. So everything in ordinary benefits is paid back 75%. So if we spend
75%.
$1, if we spend $1 million, 75% comes back to the town.
Okay. That was the primary increase.
Correct.
From 20 to 21. The other increase was $3,900 in the salary line, which is contracted. So this, I'll pause. This feels pretty straightforward. I'll pause.
Yeah, I didn't have any questions on
Okay.
it. Dennis?
No questions here either.
Okay. In that case,
Get from the veterans, yeah.
Tom again, please.
I said it's in keeping with the veterans budget always looks like every year. Yeah.
Agreed. I make a motion to vote in favor of the Veterans Services budget, number 543 department, in the amount of $331,510.14.
Second.
That was
Dan.
Dan, okay.
so I can see everybody clearly, so all those in favor, hands please. All right, Tom, keep your hands up for a moment. Tom, we have Tom, Larry, Sharon, Jack, Bernard, Paul, Dennis, myself, and Dan. How many do we have here?
That's 10.
Is that 10?
6,
Yep.
7, 8, 9. 9?
Count 9.
7,
Well, who
8,
dropped
9.
out?
9.
10.
Brian?
No, 9. 9. You're right. 9.
All right. So that count was 9 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstain.
Well, no, wait. We have 10 people here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Brian.
Yeah, but you have Manny and
I don't
Mark.
have Brian on.
Brian.
Brian doesn't have a picture.
Oh, Brian.
Brian's on the phone, guys. Yep.
Brian's on the phone. Brian, how do you vote? Do you vote in favor, opposed, or abstain?
I'm in favor. I'm in favor.
In favor. Okay.
That's 10, 0,
Brian is
0.
in favor, so that is a vote of 10 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstain.
Correct.
All right. Allie, feel free to hang out if you guys are entertained or.
This is my date night. You kidding me?
Oh, okay.
AdCom committee?
Great time. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
walk along the
along
the woods or whatever
parking
we're
lot.
still allowed to do.
Thank you all very much. Be safe, be well, wash your hands.
Thank you, Ally.
Thank you. Like the senior looking at the screen most of the time.
Oh, yeah, okay. Thanks, Mike. All right. So, we'll go back to the top of the program here, which would be the Board of Health, Department number 510.
Sorry, Seth, there was a lot of echo. Where else should we go?
Department 510,
Okay, thank you.
510, Board of Health.
Pauline, what do you need?
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Pauline. Pauline is here. Yeah, I guess you guys can see Pauline. So, all right.
Can't
Give
hear
me
you,
1 second,
Pauline.
folks. You guys can.
So we have a 510 budget and a 520 budget. The 510 is for 13,836, and the ARC budget 9,754.
All right, okay, the ARC, right. Yeah, the ARC doesn't change in a year, right? It's almost the same. So the
Yeah,
ARC budget-
for probably 15 years or plus. Yeah, they've never ever increased. Yeah.
It's amazing. So the 510. Can I ask you, Pauline, are you guys seeing any additional hours being required for what's been going on recently, or has it actually been less to do because they're not in an office?
It's kind of like a trade-off, really. We're doing everybody's busy. We have 4 people and we're all busy. We're just not doing like the regular inspections and such. We're still keeping up with the septic inspections work and all that. A big project just came in for 17 lots that we're perking right now. So yeah, we're busy with all the questions that are coming in and complaints and keeping up with all that.
Okay.
Well, hang on. So suppose all those restaurants start reopening, right?
That's going to be a big job, yeah, to go out
That's-
and inspect all of them
And is
at the
this
same time, right?
is this a decrease from what we saw before? I've got a bunch of different versions, so
Yes.
it is okay.
Yes.
And is that the head count we talked about? Was it a half head count?
That's right. So,
Okay.
Paul, the version in our budget is,
Yeah, I've got the version in the budget book. Yeah.
right. It's 305.
Yep.
742. The latest and greatest for the Board of Health, Department 510 is 276,465.02. So that is, in effect, that is the part-time health inspector.
Okay.
The reduction of the part-time health inspector, which was at 29,000 and change, was reduced by that entire amount. Okay? Any other questions? So,
Seth, this is Dennis. So on the town manager's highlights changes, it says approximately 16,000 from raised fees to be used to fund this. It cuts off
16,000 in fees. So
It's in the comments on the
Right.
salary.
so you're saying that's no longer there? The commentary is no longer there? No, the
I
commentary's
can
there.
speak to that if you want.
Well, let's make sure that we all understand the question. Paul, what, I'm
Well,
missing.
I'm assuming the new budget that came out with the town manager's proposed budget highlights and changes, these are new highlights and changes, right?
So they're new, so dollars wise, there's the reduction of the 29,277. I see the commentary, I think that you're referring to is the fees, the offset, the fees to offset the cost. That note is left. Whether or not those fees are collected or not in the new world, I don't know that. Pauline might answer to that.
Right, because we have to meet and vote on that, and that's what I predicted. But in these ever-changing times, I don't know what's going to happen there. But we're still going to try to hold up our end of the bargain, and try to increase those particular fees to equal about 16,000 increase. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Pauline. Dennis, is that getting at the question you're asking?
Yes, I mean, that's unrelated. That's a revenue issue.
Right.
Not an expense issue.
So I just want to make sure that you're satisfied, Dennis, with...
Yes, that answers it. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay. All right. So, wow, this tiny... So the other increases are salary-based, in effect, contractually based. Total increase from 2020 budget to 2021 proposal was a 16 and change % increase down to a 5% increase. And virtually all of that is a result of compensation increases. So the floor is open if anyone has questions or comments.
This is Paul. Can you hear me first?
Yes.
Yep.
I got another question. So on the town manager video this morning, Bill talked about holding off on the head counts, but then said they could potentially come up again at a later date, and I don't really understand the mechanics of that.
So I would, so he's coming up again at a later date. It would have to still come before, it would have to still be vetted through the process.
He actually said the fall.
Yeah.
Right. So is he talking about fall meeting, or is he
talking about, it would have to be special town meeting. If there was any incremental budget to be allocated to any salary, like if Pauline could cover half a person with the budget she has, then I think she has that flexibility. But any increases to any budget line items would need to be vetted through the same process. So if it comes up again, it comes up to us again.
I thought there was the potential for some federal dollars coming to the town, and that's why they're talking about September, maybe revisiting it.
Yes, there is that potential. That is still an unknown that we're aware of. So there could be federal, there could be state aid, relief, whatever you want to call it. But we will until we know about that. I mean, so that's an unknown. So that may happen, it may not. We have to wait and see at this point.
Right.
So I guess to everyone, of all the head counts that are getting reeled back in, they all make sense to me, but this one worries me more than most. And so I just want to make sure I understand the avenue. Let's say, I mean, Pauline, you're not sounding too harsh on this, or you're not, standing on the table and lighting everything on fire, but things may be a little crazy in the fall, and I want to make sure we have some avenue for adding that half head count or whatever.
Yeah, that would be so important for us to have that extra person, because when we do, or when the state reopens up, we're going to have all those restaurants to reopen up too.
Yep.
Along with all the events that are going to be wanting to start up and everything. We're just going to be so inundated. I don't know how we're even going to think about doing this. So
that's thank you for the commentary, Pauline. And I guess my only add is perspective is that public safety I feel like is low or no risk, in that when everything, presumably, when everything opens up back to, everything will open up eventually, right? We'll get back to normal at some point, whatever that is, some normal. But when that happens, everything will have to have its follow the steps and inspections. And if the resources aren't there and somebody wants to open up, we have to just say, well, you're going to have to wait longer, because it's going to take time for Pauline and her team to work through, and there may be backlog. So not optimal, but I think public safety risk is low. Would you agree with that point, Pauline? Okay.
True, very true. Yeah, people just going to have to be patient. Yeah.
That's it. So it's a good question, Paul. I'm glad you asked it, because it's good to hear Pauline, while she's here, explain. Anything else on Department 510? Okay.
So what's the proposed number then, Seth?
Yes, Tom.
With that reduction, now the total amount is now what?
The total amount is now $276,465.02.
Hey, Seth, I did a calculation. If you subtract that 29,000 and change,
yep.
We're still off 10,000. So did Keegan cut more than that?
So I see 20, it's about 25, 30. Well, Larry, we're going from 3057 to 274.
Oh, I'm looking at my book says 318. So I'm probably looking at a different version.
Go over to the far right side.
Yeah.
To the town manager recommended.
Yep, I see it.
Okay.
Hey, one more thing, Seth. Before we take the vote, I don't see Dan Peterson. So Dan, if you're calling in, can you speak up?
I'm sitting in the room with Seth.
He's with me.
Oh, you are.
He's the guy at the end.
Thank you.
The table.
All right, we're good. Thank you.
So just,
doesn't have much to say. That's all, Larry.
All right, I wave. I see you.
Sorry to beat a dead horse. What was the dollar amount on that part-time person? And Pauline, could you talk about if we bump until September approval on that, what's the hiring window?
So the amount, Pauline, you want me to give the amount first and then answer the commentary? Paul, it's $29,277. Sorry, Pauline.
Yep. So the hiring window, I was hoping to, put the notice up July 1st, but with everything going on, I don't know what Bill's plans are in that regard, so.
So once you put the notice up, how long would it typically take to hire? Or we already had somebody in mind?
No, we don't have anybody in mind. We just want to get a qualified person that will hit the ground running. And I would say it would probably take a good month to at least hire somebody. But we have our own associations that have qualified people that look at them all the time. So we hopefully can hire somebody from like MHOA or MEHA from those particular websites, as opposed to putting it out there on the regular
jobs.com or whatever.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a long day. Yeah.
So I'm going to vote against this just so everyone knows, because I think those dollars should stay in there. But
okay, I move to vote on Board of Health Department number 510 and the amount of $276,465.02.
Second.
Larry seconds the vote. All right. Brian, is there any way to get Brian? Brian, I have to call you out. How do you vote?
I'm okay with it. I support it.
Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And you, Seth?
I'm in favor. So that is not, that's 9 in favor. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Paul is 1, 0 abstain, right? 1, 2, 3,
Yep.
4, 5, 6, 8, 9. 9, 1, 0. Tom, you get that?
Got it.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Okay, moving on.
Thank you, Pauline.
Okay.
Pauline's going to stick around for Department 520. Because Department 520 is Health Services Department, the ARC, right?
Right, that's a 520 budget, right.
520, Department 520.
Yep, we are.
So every version that I see here is for exactly $9,754.
Yep.
Any questions, comments for Pauline or in general around Department 520?
Pauline, is this where we're looking at the 2019 actual fiscal year? I believe this is where we had said that the health nurse was included in the past. That's why we had the higher amount, right?
Right, that was nixed out last year for like $35,000 was taken out, and that was transferred over to the fire department. So all that's left in this account now is the ARC for 9754.
Thank you.
And they haven't gone up for years, huh, Tom?
Exactly. lot of goodwill for that small amount.
Really goodwill. Yep. They do a fantastic job.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a bit, actually. The last time.
Everyone comfortable? What we got here?
Yes.
All right. I will, in that case, I will move to vote on the Public Health Department, number 520, in the amount of $9,754. And we will start with hands. For all those I can see, all those in favor, please raise your hand.
No one seconded, Seth.
I did, Sharon.
Sharon seconded.
9. Brian, what say you in favor or?
I'm in favor. I'm in favor of 20.
Favor, okay. So that makes
Not
everyone
420,
10 in
520.
favor. Tom?
Yeah, 520.
That's a joke.
10 in favor.
Set the both in also, so that's 10-0-0.
Yes, did I not raise my, yeah, I was thinking it. I was
guys.
thinking favorability. So that's 10 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstain.
Great. Got it.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pauline. Good night.
Thanks, Pauline.
Thanks.
Night.
Let's want to stay with the party.
Okay.
I don't know how to shut this off. All right. Good night.
Down in the bottom right hand, okay.
You are.
So we'll move on to the Department 541, Council on Aging. Mark Craig is here. So everyone can flip over there. Take a moment as we set up here.
Hear a 4-year-old screaming. I apologize. I moved in 3 different places, but it's bedtime and 2 stories up. She's not happy. Sorry.
Okay. Everyone ready?
All righty.
Okay, so Department 541. Originally, the town manager's recommendation was $516,700 $768. Originally, the latest version from Bill shows 492,141 or 142, and that is in effect a reduction of the part-time human services coordinator, which was a 19-hour week position, in the amount of $24,600 something dollars. Okay.
Right.
So the new, so from 2020, which has a budget of 515 and change, to 2021 proposal, that is a decline of 4.5%. Okay? And that is a function of the reduction of $45,500 from the 2020 budget. So that's why, which was professional services, which, Mark, if you want to remind us what that was for the 2020 budget?
Yeah, it's a little misleading because the fall town meeting, we had that $40,000 allocation for the feasibility study for a new facility. So when that was voted in at fall town meeting, it actually went into professional services.
Yep.
So it's a little misleading there. So you should really, you should take the FY20 budget and just take $40,000 off of that, because that was a one-time thing. If you're sort of calculating in your head how that looks.
I see it.
Yep. All right, so that's probably a moderate increase of 1 or 2%, I would say, just trying to do some quick mental math.
Yeah, it would be that those steelworker union negotiated increases plus a very, very, very small increase for the expenses. Yeah.
Seth, what was the new number? 492, I didn't get the last three numbers.
492,000.
Right.
141.99.
Okay.
Great.
So, as Mark mentioned, the bulk of the increase year over year is compensation related, which is an increase of 3.5% from 20 to 21 proposal, right? Beyond that, I'll open up the floor to questions and comments, questions for Mark, or discussion amongst the committee. So I'll remind everybody that everyone, all the department heads were really good with communicating and bringing data that we had requested, because this is relatively new thing, I think, for our committee is to ask for quantifiable evidence of or validation justification for increases, all increases, but particularly for headcount. So Mark was quite diligent in bringing quantifiable data materials. So I think if we had been living, if things can, yeah, there you go, Tom. That's it. Tom's, okay, you guys can see that.
He actually fitted some data and put a chart up. That was pretty impressive.
So I think that there would have been strong support for this, and unfortunately, in this day and age, it's no longer represented in the 492,000. So I just wanted to mention that I feel like that was pretty good support.
Predecessors to bring us cupcakes, but
the legend continues, right, Tom?
There you go.
Well, I will just mention, I will take this opportunity if that's okay. So while obviously kind of asked Pauline about the crisis and what's going on and what the kind of implications for the future. So more than likely, we'll probably see some of our senior programs dip off a little bit. But I can already tell you our human services, our services for people over 18 who are in need is a lot right now.
Yes.
It's a serious amount. Our social workers are really putting in some serious hours, and they're going to be. A lot of people are going to need a lot of help in the next 6 months to a year, and probably longer than that. So just for your information.
Yeah, I mean, I think I speak for the entire committee that work that you and your team are doing is much appreciated. This committee, and I think across town too. So thanks for that update and all that you're doing for the citizens, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
How much, since a lot of people can't come to you now, how much of your stuff is actually going out to, reaching out to people who not only do you know they're already shut-ins, but people who normally be coming to the Council on Aging office? Are you been going to people or coordinating stuff for people to be accessed?
So what we did when this all sort of started to come to a head is we looked back the last year and took the statistics and figured out, I took a giant list of 600 people that have been there, Foxborough residents, over the last few months, and divided it up. And my staff is actually calling everyone every single week. So some people just to say, they just want to say hi, and that's kind of it. And some people, they're on the phone for 20, 30 minutes or even more, just communicating. So all of my staff has kind of moved to outreach workers, where they're actually reaching out to people, checking on them, figuring out their needs, and then we're satisfying those needs too. So you've probably seen we've been doing toilet paper giveaway. We had Next Gen Supply in Mansfield just bring toilet paper to the senior center. We've been distributing it. We did 2,900 rolls. We did some eggs from Gillette. We were trying to satisfy the needs. I did a community needs assessment a few weeks ago just to see what the town, the residents needed. So at this point, we're kind of triaging people's problems and solving them as quickly as we can. Our drivers are doing food pantry deliveries, which traditionally they never do. They're driving people to doctor's appointments, but they're delivering to people in need and people who are sick too, who don't want to leave their house. We're actually delivering to them.
Right. I'm sure you're going to keep stats on all this stuff. Impress us next year. That's good. That's good.
Okay. Anything else on Council on Aging? Human Services. All right. In that case, I move to vote on the Council on Aging and Human Services proposal, Department number 541.
Second.
Who is that?
Dennis.
Dennis. Okay.
Okay. So just for consistency, I'll read the seconded is noted, but just in the amount of $492,141.99.
Correct.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Brian, are you in favor of the proposal?
Yep, I'm in favor.
Okay. So with that, that is Tom. That is 10 in favor.
Got it.
0-0.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Feel free to stick around.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Stay healthy, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
Right. Good night.
All right. So now we're moving on to section 6. First off, we have Library Department 610. Manny is here, as you guys know, to represent the library. We have some members. Colin is here as well, and I think Kevin was on the phone. Kevin Penders. So at this point,
Right. Thanks, Steph.
Yep, Larry. I know I texted you. Do you have?
Yes.
Do you have a conflict as far as library?
No, I don't. I replied back to you.
Oh,
Do you want
sorry.
me to take over?
Okay. Oh, you said no. I'm sorry. I see that now.
Yeah.
If you would, I have to. I'm going to take a break because my wife works at the library, so I have a conflict. So I'm gonna, Larry, I'm gonna let you handle that, please.
Okay. Hi, Manny.
How you doing, Larry?
Good. Do you want? I know you presented to us, and I'm just trying to do the calculation, take off the, but do you have anything else you want to tell the committee?
Well, I mean, during these times, the library is closed right now. So I'm working on a plan right now once we open again. Actually, today I ordered some protective glass for our circulation desks.
Okay.
So I'm currently doing that now. Regarding the FY21 budget, I mean, that was the YA position was the big factor in that budget, and then everything else seemed to be pretty steady and consistent with previous years.
Okay. When do you think the library is going to open up?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm preparing. You know, I'm working on a floor plan right now, and in communication with other directors, and seeing what they're doing. And I don't know. It's going to be. It's so unpredictable right now. I'm hoping we open sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But we got to get all our ducks in a row. Make sure the staff, everyone's safe, and our patrons are safe. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Manny?
What was the change here? What's the new number we're looking at here?
I believe Manny, correct me if I'm wrong. It's the original number from Keegan, from the town manager, was $1,197,432.74.
Yeah, that was the original. Yep.
Correct. And then I believe we're going to subtract $30,894.57.
Yes.
Okay, so the new number is $1,166,538.37.
So that's without the youth.
That's without the correct, the part-time position, correct. Am I right, Manny?
Yes.
The numbers sound right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the only thing being removed.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Manny, I have one question. There is in the budget $30,000 projected for 2 retirees. Is that still expected, or is there an adjustment there?
One of them is definite, and the other one came to me with their intentions to retire for FY21, but I have not received a firm time when that person's going to retire.
So there is no change from the original budget. That's really the question.
Yeah, this budget's with the intention that we're going to have 2 retirees in FY21.
Yeah.
I guess Jack, I just jumped on Jack. Nothing regarding all this pandemic is causing them to say I might need to postpone my retirement for another year or something like that.
That was.
Oh no, yeah, she's ready.
Okay.
Yeah, she.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just a comment. I think Manny did a great job advocating for this position, and it's probably like other positions. In the fall, who knows what's going to happen with federal and state dollars, and this is the kind of position that normally wouldn't rise, as essential. But I think people are going to need a lot of support, and young adults are going to need a lot of support. And this will be something I'm sure we'll all look at again in the fall.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the new budget of $1,166,538.37.
I'll second.
All in favor? How about you, Brian?
I'm here, if you can see me now.
Okay.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
you in, Jack, or no?
Well, you can see my thumb on the.
Okay. Okay,
And
all
I
in,
see Dan. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 9.
and all opposed,
Seth abstained.
abstain 1.
Seth,
Okay.
Abstain.
901.
901. Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
All right, Manny.
Thanks, Manny.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You can stay if you
Thanks.
want. We're happy to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Kevin.
your
Thanks,
evening.
Colin.
question, Larry?
Yes.
I did you do the math right? I think you're off by 20 cents.
What did we vote on, Larry?
Let me look.
What is going on here?
Oh, man. Hold on a second.
Here, I'll throw in a quarter.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think we can make it happen.
Thank you.
What's the new number, Jack?
Well, 1166538. I think it's 17.
I think you are. I think you
Jack,
know what?
I have that
can't even
too.
tell from- Yeah, you're right, Jack. I'm sorry.
17, yeah.
You're
Can you
right.
read your writing, Larry?
Yeah, you can tell Keegan we funded the library 20 cents more.
Yeah. I returned a late book charge.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we take another vote, or we're just gonna accept it?
I think that's a rounding error.
All right. You know what? For formality, let's revote. I'd like to make a
technically-
motion. I'd like to make a motion to vote the new budget of 1,166,538.17.
Okay, I'll second that, I guess. Based on
All
Jeff.
all in favor?
I-
All right.
All
And
right.
Brian, you good? Brian, you
Yep.
good?
I'm
Okay.
in favor.
I see
Thank
his
you.
hand.
We can see Brian now.
We see you, Brian. You're
Oh,
there.
I see you now. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And I
I'll keep
abstain.
I'll keep a book overdue so I can make up the difference.
I still abstain.
All right, Seth. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it.
Um,
So we're doing well on keeping on schedule here. Let's move on to Recreation, Department number 630. And this is very straightforward. This is all compensation for our Recreation Director. We're looking at an increase of just over 3% from the 2020 budget to the 2021 proposal. So from 92 and change to 95 and change. 1,000 or so of that is a longevity payout, bonus, whatever you want to call it. So this one is, do you like having a recreation director or not? Anyone opposed to a recreation director? I mean, it sounds like I'm being flip, but I'm really asking.
Somebody else want to wear that mantle?
Yeah. I think we like our recreation, right? We like our.
We do.
They do a spectacular job.
They do a great job self-funding.
No doubt.
Okay. Unless there's other comment, which I don't think there is, I move to vote on the Recreation Department budget proposal, department number 630, in the amount of $95,117.80.
All seconds.
All seconds?
Paul? Oh,
Yep.
okay.
All, yep. All those in favor of that motion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tom, you make 10? 10 in
Thank you.
favor. 0
10,
opposed,
0,
0
0.
abstained.
Okay. Oh, we're just crushing it.
So, all right, so let's move on then to Historical Commission, number 691. So Mark Forensic was on the phone. I don't know if he is or if he.
Yeah, he's small.
Okay.
I think I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep. No
All
picture,
right.
just voice. Okay.
All right. So, we have a budget request for this department in the amount of $14,175, which is the exact same amount as the 2020 budget line item. Spend all of that money, pretty much to the penny. They don't ask for more. They do good work. I'll open it up for comments or questions, either for amongst ourselves or for Mark. So everyone go up to the,
Okay, I'm just looking at the overview on the front page there. That work that's being supposedly done on Memorial Hall, has that either been completed before all this happened, or is that being delayed to the next year, or what?
Well, we were on a pretty good curve to get some things done. We got some quotes in, and then things have pretty well ground to a halt over the last month, 6 weeks. So we're going to do some repointing. We're going to do copper roof and some skylights, but everything is really up in the air at the moment.
Is there a chance that might not even get done because of all the backlog of other work, or maybe bigger projects or is this a contractor you've already worked with in the past who's going to come into May in the fall, or?
No, it's a different contractor. So, I mean, I really don't know. I don't have a feel for it. Everything is just hit the wall.
Okay. Was there anything from the Historical Commission in the CIP budget? I don't have it right in front of me.
We're talking about, I believe, right?
He's talking.
The other, we
capital.
had a new CIP for $25,000 for grave restoration, which was probably going to out for a few years or 6 months. But the good news for us is that guy's work dried up, so he finished it up this spring. So we were able to accelerate that.
Okay. Yeah, I saw those two pieces on the CIP, so I couldn't remember the other part. Okay. Thank you.
I make a motion to vote on the Historical Commission budget. What number did I say? Number 4691?
691.
691. In the amount of $14,175. Bernard, did you second?
Yes, I agree on the amount, 14,175. Yep.
Okay. Tom, you have the second there noted. All those in favor, please raise your hand where we can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tom makes 10. So that's 10 in favor. 10 in favor, 0, 0.
And 0, 0.
Wow, we did really well on time in terms of accuracy and precision. Okay, so that was effectively the first item on the agenda. Second item was discussion around, so I mentioned warrant articles, the additional warrant articles, which we have not heard about yet, but we'll need to have Bill and potentially others come in and discuss the warrant articles other than the budget. I also mentioned previous votes on departmental budget proposals. So in effect, or we voted thus far on schools and Department of Public Works, right? Okay.
Hey, Seth, if I can ask a question here, I got, is it open floor, or you got an item you're on, you want to talk?
So I have a very specific question around those two departments, and then we can open that up to a broader conversation. Is that fair? So my question around the school department, Department of Public Works, we had those votes.
Water and sewer too.
Included, right? Department of Public Works, including water and sewer. School, I believe the school department budget request was unchanged from what we reviewed to the most recent proposal from Bill that I sent out last week. And so I think I validated that, but I'm going to ask that someone else agree with that before we.
I agree.
Okay. What number is that, by the way? I'm looking for it.
School department,
Okay.
300,
300.
300.
Okay.
Right.
So, my point on that is, we voted, there's no change. I think everything that's included in the school department is either contractual or required by law, or there was, it was level service or strong agreement or some combination of all of those things. And so I recommend that we let that vote stand as is rather than revisiting. John, just.
Well, the issue with the school department is, even if we were to go back into it, they still have bottom line autonomy, and that hasn't been waived by any kind of state statutes with regards to this whole situation. So, I mean, if they had to, it's like if they is the gas for the buses and stuff, or the inspections or whatever they're using for all that under their budget, or is that under the DPW budget? I forget, but say they were saving money on gas and they could reappropriate those funds someplace else. They may be spending money in other places. So I thought the school department being closed, and now with the governor shutting everything down yesterday for the rest of the school year, that there may actually be some, recurring costs on a monthly basis or a scheduled basis that might actually be able to come back to the town. Is that something we can find to be recouped in next fiscal year, or at the fall town meeting when we have a better handle on how we're coming out of this and what the actual costs or savings were? I mean, right now we're still looking at in the middle of the fourth, last semester, and other things are going on. They're still trying to work, so they're still paying the teachers, but custodians aren't necessarily keeping up with everything to be done. The heating or conditioning isn't going to be on. Buses aren't rolling. Insurance costs are going to go down. I got a message from Amica saying, because if you're on the road, you're going to get a discount on your car insurance for the remainder of your policy. So does a town benefit from something like that as well? That your bus not rolling on the roads, maybe there's insurance benefit there that comes back. And is that administrative cost, or is that a school board cost? I don't know. I didn't see that. I did not attempt to break that down within the budget. But those are my concerns about just blank saying we voted on it, let's not readdress it, because if we don't, the taxpayers are still going to be saying, hey, the schools are closed, and yet they're still getting everything they want, including the raise, which was, what's the percentage? 3%? This is where we are supposed to talk about those things. Even if they're just projected, the fact, table for a potential discussion down the road, I think needs to be at least voiced out there.
All right, so how would that, so thanks for the commentary, Tom. How would that manifest itself in a change to the 2020 budget proposal? If it could or would, yeah. What does that mean for the 2021 budget proposal in front of us?
Well, I guess a straight answer to that would be that will there be a verifiable assessment done at the end of this fiscal year as to whether it is a savings or additional cost to the school budget, and does that go straight to the bottom line free cash in the town, or are they, because they have autonomy, able to reassess that, recalibrate those funds into something else? Because I always thought that Bill, you said that we bring back to the town several times.
Tom, you are breaking up, so you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But well, we're getting the gist of it. I think it is a little bit garbled, but we're getting the gist.
Yeah,
but that's true. So
right, the taxpayer is going to want to know that without the costs being seen by their students actually going to school and riding a bus and all that stuff, that people are going to assume that there is a savings there. So I think it's our duty to make sure that we're at least bringing up that kind of question and looking for that type of a response from
Tom, if I understand correctly, any savings from fiscal year 20 from the school department, UGNA or the school department will probably return it back to the town for fiscal year 20. Will show in the free cash for next year. So Seth's question is that I know you were asking about changes for fiscal year 21 budget. So how is? I think that's a disconnect. You're correct. It's most likely will be some savings. What it is, we don't know at this point. But anything that's left over should go back to the town as part of the free cash for next year. Hopefully, we'll start off at a better position. But I don't think the school committee is going to revote the fiscal year 21 budget proposal. And I think that's what we're trying to get at. Is I know what you're saying.
Okay, at the school committee meetings, the representatives of this board who went there, were any of those proposals for line items based upon the spending for this year and a percentage increase over this year's use? Should it just be, that it was based on what was the normal year? And going forward, we just bump everything by that percentage to go forward for the next fiscal year. And just leave that as a wash as to whatever happens between now and the end of June, just comes back to the town and leave it as is. I can work with that. I just wanted to make sure that we're under the impression that that when they construct their budget, if they're using what the prior year expenditures were, that some of those expenditures are going to be less than they were the previous year.
Yep.
And will that does that methodology carry forward for everything? And we're not managing their line items, so that's my only concern that came up with that.
Is this an issue where we could ask Bill Keegan for some guidance? I think you're bringing up some legitimate questions, but I don't think any of us are in a position to answer them tonight.
No.
Yeah, the thing we're dealing with is.
And I understand what you're saying. I mean, the budget for next year is predisposed to be that under a regular school year, that's what we're going to need. And hopefully everything will come back online starting September, and they're going to need that budget for next year. Whatever they didn't use this year will go to our bottom line to the cash. Okay, I can understand that part too, Larry. I didn't mean to try and tear that down. I just wanted people to think about the fact that there are certain. This is certainly going to throw a lot of wrenches into the calculations for fiscal year 2022 when you start going back a year or two to see what was used, what was spent, and wasn't.
Yeah. So, Jack, you were starting to make a point.
Yeah, I was making the point that we're looking at next year's budget, but I'm also a bit concerned by your opening statement, Seth, saying that we might not go back and revisit it. The reality is we should be revisiting any budget after we understand what the town's new income numbers are. We don't know that yet. It might be that we have to go back and revisit budgets.
Absolutely. I agree with that point, Jack. As far as the schools, I think there's less room to maneuver for all the points I mentioned earlier, either contractual, legally obligated, or level service that we were not interested in reductions. For example, we could reduce teachers or coaches, but I don't know that there's an appetite for that. That would be an expense reduction.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we should do any of those. I'm just raising the flag that we should not say, we're not going to go back and revisit this. It may be that we have to, and we would take from the bottom line, and the school department would then say, well, I don't want an extra coach or an extra teacher. It's the school department to say, but we might revisit the bottom line if it comes to that, and hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah, so I agreed, Jack, and so this agenda item that we're talking about right now, we're revisiting school and we're revisiting public works amongst ourselves for the expense side. Next week, Bill and George will be here. We'll hear more about the revenue side. Larry and I have talked about that a little bit. I talked to Bill and George, and we have some perspective. Larry has an interesting study that was done that, Larry, did you share with this team yet? I can't remember.
No.
Okay.
After the meeting tonight, I will send it up.
Yeah.
Email to
No rush.
everyone, to everyone.
Right, but Larry had an interesting analysis that was done, Bank of America.
No. Boston, Federal Bank of Boston.
Yeah, Federal Reserve Bank
Federal
of
Reserve.
Boston.
Federal
Yeah.
Reserve Bank.
And it had some interesting insights. I won't go into it right now, but if you take a look at it ahead of next week, it might give you some perspective regarding what the revenue budget may look like, what it should look like, and what we'll have the money to pay for. And so, Jack, my only point around not revisiting is that we are revisiting, but as far as the school budget, it feels like we have less room to move.
We shouldn't revisit it now, but I was just questioning, we're not going to revisit. I thought that concept is what I was questioning.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Please.
To Tom and Dennis's point, when I asked Bill specifically, because he mentioned, I think it was boiler water heaters or something like that, how they had kind of moved money around. And I think this goes to Tom's point of, is the money going to go back around to what schools want to spend it on, or, does it go to the town's free cash? Now, Larry's point was we assume it goes to free cash, and I don't necessarily think that's the case for all line items. And to Dennis's point, I think we should ask. And I think there's no reason not to ask Bill and say, hey, is your plan to give it? I'm sure they're going to say, yeah, at this point in time, we'd be crazy not to put it all into free cash. But they might be like, no, we kind of need something left over here or there. We plan to do something over the summer with this. I just think it's worth bringing up to Bill next week and saying like, hey, is that all going to go there? Most of it, some of it?
Yeah.
I think it's just worth asking.
Yeah, no, we absolutely can do that. So just for clarity, what we're talking about is fiscal year 2020 savings. And Tom was relating 2020 savings to our approach for 2021 budgeting, which is a fair thought and approach. But 2020 spend, Tom thought maybe there'd be savings, which there could be, heating and, without the kids in school, we save on toilet paper and stuff. So there may be savings there for 2020. For 2021, my opinion, I think it's going to be more expensive once to have the kids back in school with the safety precautions and maybe buying masks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
God knows. Smaller class sizes with spacing or whatever. So I actually think with the new normal or whatever that is, once school starts in September, I think it's going to be more expensive rather than less. So any savings
Seth,
is not.
I want to say that I was thinking along those terms as well. And I just wanted to make one other comment is, could this rationale be applied to all the budgets that weren't increasing for just compensation? Like everyone's going to have, a difference, whether it be high or low. So, we can't make that call at this point.
Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty, Sharon. Thank you for that. And I agree to that point that simply because we're looking at the library budget and it was reduced by the one head or the half a head for the part-time librarian, we have a new budget number. That doesn't mean that we agree with everything else that's in there. Like if nothing else changed, we could certainly say, hey, I'm not sure that this line item, this dollar value is something that the town should be spending money on, whatever it is, book repair. So
Bernard's got a
same approach for every line item and nothing changes because we've had questions here or there. Still the same process and the same vetting process for every line item across all budgets. Is that fair, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Bernard.
Yeah, question. So, aren't we stated in many ways that we're expecting Bill Keegan to essentially
You're breaking up, Bernard.
balanced budget? In other words, we're saying the same thing that at the end of the day, I'm sorry?
You're breaking up on us.
Okay.
We are having a hard time hearing you.
Can you hear better?
Yes. Yeah, it was not so much your.
Here, but you're breaking up, so it's hard to
There was
follow
a problem
what
with
you're
your
saying.
feed.
Are we all breaking up?
No, yours, Sharon, your connection was good the whole time. Bernard, you want to just try again? Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. My question is, aren't we expecting Bill Keegan to deliver a balanced budget anyway?
Yes.
So
Yes.
aren't we all saying the same thing, that no matter what happens in the second half, at the end of the day, the revenues will have to match the expenses or vice versa to be balanced?
That is true, Bernard. Did you have anything else to add, or should we have that? Should we respond?
No, I think I'm in agreement with Jack and Sharon in the sense that no matter what Bill Keegan presents, even with all the risks we know during the second half, the budget will have to be balanced.
Agreed. Larry, do you have any thoughts around the revenue piece? Just early, we haven't had that conversation yet. Bill will be coming in, but Larry, what are your thoughts based on what? You're on mute, Larry. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Sorry.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, I reached out to Bill Keegan earlier this week to ask him about some of the revenue projections. He gave us a response. Okay, I mean, Seth and I talked about it, but, Keegan is going to discuss the revenue projection again in detail to the Board of Selectmen in about a week and a half. And then what happened today was I also found the article from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, that gave the projection, worst case, best case for Massachusetts. And once I send it to you tonight, you can reach your own conclusion. So I think it might be worse than what we thought might be. It might take a little longer for things to bounce back. But you can read it later. So as far as revenue, yes, Seth has already changed Keegan on some of the revenue projection, Keegan and George. And we're waiting, obviously, if they attend next week's meeting, we all have a better chance to ask more questions. So I think everybody is right. There are some concerns. I'm sure. I mean, Tom, you're right. You talked about the school questions. I'm sure someone at town meeting is going to stand up and ask that question, and you're right. But I think at this point, do our own research, think it through, and have your questions ready for next week. But I think it's the concerns are legitimate. So at this point, there's a lot of unknown, a lot of uncertainty out there at this point. I mean, if I have a crystal ball, I'll be the smartest and richest guy in a couple of weeks. So,
coming back to the point I made earlier, we're missing that context in talking about these reductions. What is the revenue picture going to look like?
Yeah.
To add up all of the town manager's adjustments to the 21 budget, so it's only 2%.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone would believe that 2%, plus or minus is going to be the number. But right now it's a good starting point to have a better idea of the revenue picture.
So yes, Dennis, thank you for that. And I think that's on point. So Bernard, I think to the question of will the budget be balanced? Yes, it has to.
Yeah.
And what Larry and Dennis and I echo the suggestion is that we need to next week and for the rest of this process, have a critical eye on any revenue projections that may appear a little, the term rosy has been put out there, or aggressive is another way to say it, in that when Larry provides you with the documentation or the study, if you look at nothing else, turn to page 21, because what that shows is the impact of the states in New England. And for Massachusetts, they had various studies of various sources, and they range from less than $1 billion to $4 billion of impact to the 2020 budget, to the 2020 budgets. That's across the whole state. But they put 2020 and 2021 side by side, and generally 2021 impact was 2 to 4 times the impact to 2020. That's blew my mind a little bit, in that I was of the mindset that, maybe by June everything will be kind of back to normal, and there'll be pent-up demand released, and the 2021 would look the same as it would without the coronavirus, right? But then I got, it made me think that pent-up demand, okay, people might want to go out to dinner, but think of all the people who have been furloughed or they're no longer working. That impacts people's desire and willingness to spend. So that filters down. The what do they call? What is it called? You spend $1 and it generates another
trickle down.
Yeah, so that's the tax term for it. But
voodoo economics.
Yeah.
Seth,
but at any rate, just to finish the point, so 2021 could be seriously impacted
which is pertinent to this discussion. You might take a moment to read it.
Say that again, Jack, please.
Marie has posted an item under the chat where you can, which is addressing the question we've been talking about. You might take a moment to read that.
Okay.
Thank you, Jack. You all right?
You want it? Do you have it there, Jack? You want to read it?
I would like to be able to talk to Bill. One of the last things we saw was the school committee, and and then days after we were, the schools were shut down. But one of the things that stuck out to us was him talking about how they were going to be, dealing with a potential $400 hit because of special education. And because of the commitments that the department has to transporting students. And I don't know whether or not that this spring, because there's no school, whether or not those facilities were still taking in those students, or whether or not those students were at home. And then whether or not those facilities will be able to take students in the fall, and whether or not that concern gets wiped out in their budget for next year, or if there's an offset. But that was one of the last meetings we were at, was they were talking about that. And I know the committee was, really in depth, because there was over $2 million that the town is spending on special education equipment services for about 35, 38 students. And, he made a point that, it's almost like 6 to 7% of the budget. So something that large, if all of a sudden, 3 months of it is not there anymore, that makes a tremendous amount of difference, whether or not it gets picked up on the other end, or whether or not, like I said, if there are problems here in the state and those facilities are no longer active going into the fall, does that now not become an expense in the fall? So I think Bill is a font of information to be able to help. I'm sure he's pretty OCD about the whole statistics too, Seth. So
Yep.
I would appreciate being able to talk to him again too before town meeting.
To Bill Yukna?
Yeah.
Is that who you said, Tom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, Marie mentions him also in the chat notes there. So.
Okay. So for school, we voted it. I don't think it sounds like if anyone wanted to re-vote anything on schools, it would be after conversation. So we're going to leave that as is. as currently voted. The second department was Public Works. We voted on that, and that was based on on the budget proposal that we had earlier in the session. We have a revised proposal across the various departments within Public Works. And so my suggestion was going to be that we re-vote on those departments that were revised. Any revisions were revisions down based on headcount reductions. And so I'll just, before we comment on that, let me just give you my thoughts there. We can hold on that until we have conversations with Bill on revenue. I also want to balance that thoughtfulness with our need to continue to make progress in that town meeting was pushed out a month or more, but we haven't met in quite a while either, so we need to be able to have a schedule where we get through and meet all of our obligations as a committee and make sure that we're considering all of the articles that will be on the warrant. So I'm going to put that out there to the committee explicitly. Should we re-vote on Department of Public Works tonight for those departments that were updated or changed from when we voted to now?
I think we should, at least the ones that Keegan already cut the positions.
I agree with that. Any others?
I guess my only, if the change in position is literally the only change, that I'd say yes.
Yeah, it's water and sewer.
And water and sewer too, correct.
Yeah, I mean, all the adjustments are detailed on his highlights and changes.
Yes. So
why we wouldn't do that? I didn't see any non-labor reductions.
Right.
Correct.
Agreed. So the only reason I thought that would be sort of a slam dunk as far as what we would do tonight. The only reason I approached it as a question was if somebody, if there was a point of view on the committee that revenue was going to be reduced by 10%, 20%, that we would need to go back through this entire thing with a fine-tooth comb. Not that we can't do that after re-voting those departments that change, but I just wanted to put it. So maybe I should just stop and say, okay, let's move on.
I think that if the selectmen or management or anyone is pushing for a cut in expenses, we have to take a vote on pretty much every department. So at this point, it would make sense to just take the vote on the two departments with the additional positions tonight. So we have it clean.
I think that's right, Larry. I agree. So with that, why don't we turn to Department 410, Department of Public Works 410. And so if you're looking at your budget book as it was distributed to us, there's a number of $2,065,000 and change. If you look at your notes, you may have taken down a different number that we voted on. So I'm just flipping to that, but the number that I believe we voted on was $2,061,263.50.
That's what I have.
Okay. All right. What date did we have Chris in?
It was March 4th we had that vote.
March,
Oh, we
we
voted.
voted on March 4th, right?
Chris was in only that day. He was in twice.
And then January 29, water sewer. Or 10.
Larry,
so-
while Seth is looking into is the 2,061,263.50 cents a result of the cut of $4,000 in the overtime, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're in sync.
Okay.
That's right. We cut it from 8 to 4, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
It used to be
Yeah.
8 and now 4, right?
So the
Okay.
question is, the question is, since Keegan cut the position, do we want to fund him back the 8,000 or do you want to keep it at 4,000? That's up to the committee. I'm just
We may
putting it out
need
there.
to keep the 8,000 there because you're gonna have one less person, but there's, who knows how much more work is there gonna be?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
I say
so
I say we just cut the position that Bill cut, and leave the 4,000 that was negotiated for OT. They can always come back later if they need the OT. Who knows what these circumstances are gonna require?
There's plenty of money from EdCom to pay at year end anyway,
Yeah.
so don't worry about it.
Uh,
Just
see you in
kidding.
June, sucker.
did Bill
Just
actually
kidding.
take the
Just
4,000
kidding.
out, is a question.
That's what I'm trying to find.
Yeah. So Dan is looking to see if Bill actually took out the 4,000, and it looks like he did.
Yeah. Oh, he did
Building
too, okay.
maintenance? No, what am I talking about?
So Bill's number reflects our taking the 4,000 out? Bill's revised number?
That's what we're trying to validate, if anyone, Is that
Nope,
back?
it's 8.
is it 8?
It's back to 8.
And is that aligned with 2020?
Okay, there's a
Yes, it
message
is
from
aligned with
Marie. So
2020.
if anybody wants to take a look,
All right. So in other words, he reduced the mechanic at 42, it looks like, and added back in 4 to the overtime, to bring the overtime back to 8.
Yeah, that's what Maria is saying.
that's what Marie's saying. Yeah.
Okay. So at any rate, it's almost,
That's the fair thing to do.
Dennis, say
Right.
that again, please.
That's the
Yeah,
fair.
you're right.
We agree that
I just have a
8,000 is
question.
appropriate?
Why does Mary have 2021 for 8002 when we're talking about 2061 to 6350?
That is to eliminate the position, but I don't know how much the mechanic's position pay is.
The
I believe that 40,000 is
2,061 was
probably
what
the
we
pay.
voted on, and the 2,021,480 is what is in the Excel spreadsheet that Seth sent out to us this week.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Dan. So yeah, it's almost exactly 40,000. The mechanic position was, I had a note that it was 42,000. So there was an add back of some OT. 4,000 of OT is added back in Bill's most current version. And then
Right.
2,000.
Because it to be out of administration's budget, right?
Okay, we just got a message from Marie, and the mechanic's position is $52,000, 116. So
Yes.
you might want to take a look at the chat before. I think the numbers are. I'm trying to figure out the numbers too, but now let's see if we can figure it out.
Just so you guys know, we can't see the chat. We just see your faces. Just
Okay,
so you know.
on the top right, there should be the.
Well, our screen
It
is
says more.
our
like the three
screen is in
dots.
control
They're
by
in the-
us.
They're
Oh,
in the
they are.
room.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we're not looking. We don't see it. So just
Okay,
so you
Dan,
guys are
it's
aware.
you. I can't see you. Sorry.
So there might be some nickel and dimey stuff here that is flipping around. Ultimately, the reduction between our 2,061,000 and our 2,021,000 is pretty close to exactly $40,000, which is
Correct.
close to my note, 42,000 for the mechanic. Not sure what the 10,000 discrepancy is between the 52 and the 42, but
They count the benefits in there?
Doesn't seem like it'd be enough.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's probably a 20 something, 30% markup for benefits.
Well,
I think
Bill's recommendation is 2,021,480 and 22 cents.
Or
That's
0.02 cents.
That's
Zero-
Keegan's
0.02
recommendation from Marie.
That's 2 cents.
Yeah, probably just
And 2 cents. And
probably
2
an
cents.
inversion. Yeah. Okay.
I just keep on adding 20 cents every time. I don't know why.
You're gonna get up
Trying
to
to
a dollar
sneak
by
18
the end.
cents.
So I know the town is going to be in trouble by next year.
18 cents here, 18 cents there. Pretty soon you're talking real money.
So he eliminated the position, but then added 4,000 back on OT. Is that basically it?
Yep.
That's the message we got from Marie. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, so we understand, generally speaking, the 40,000 reduction. To Sharon's point earlier, was there questions or issues with any other line item or expense within budget 410? I don't have anything that I recall or was looking into, so I'm comfortable with the 2,021,000, but let me open it up.
Chris came before us 3 times, and he certainly did bring all the stats and stuff you love, Steph. And so I think we really hashed it out with him pretty well to get to that 4,000 drop on the OT and, make the position work. We're just taking that out and replacing the OT. If that's the only switcheroo, I'm okay with it.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, so we spent an awful lot of time with him.
Yes, we did.
I agree. Yeah, I think he was thorough and was able to justify everything and follow it up with any feedback of questions. So I'm pretty comfortable with what we have here at the minus the part-time. Okay. With that said, I make a motion to vote on Department 410, Public Works, in the amount of $2,021,480.02.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 in favor.
Cool.
0, 0. Thanks, everybody. All right, somebody want to tell me where we're going next?
Water and sewer.
Water and sewer, right. Thank you, Dennis.
Can we look at 424 real quick? Is that where our 10 grand is coming from?
424, street lights.
If you look at 21 department head, it says 100. If you look at town manager recommended, it's 110.
Yeah, that was that last minute adjustment they had, that the 100 wasn't a right number.
Right, but is that where our, oh wait, so
Oh, is
that
that where the
10, the 10's not out of there. Okay, never mind.
So, yep, so Dan.
I remember,
have-
I remember now. I
Yeah,
remember.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I have a revised, I have 110 in my book.
Okay.
All right. Is that Department 450, Dennis?
Yeah, 450 and 460.
450 and 460. Thank you.
Well, the water department's gonna be happy that people are home now and they're using more water. Or they're not gonna be happy that we're using more water.
Right.
Well,
Do they like that? Do they
are
like
people
water
going to be able
usage?
to
I
pay
don't
the
know.
bill? You know?
I'm not happy that my college kid is back home using more water.
Oh, yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, it's gotta be way up, I would think.
Yeah, you'd think, right?
Maybe restaurants down.
That's true. And people probably won't be paying as much this spring for landscaping and stuff.
Yeah, and since you're not going, people aren't going to the office as much, maybe they shower less.
That was a little too close to the bone there.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself, Seth.
I am. I definitely
That's
am.
why Dan's sitting on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
What else is new? Okay. All right, so what we have for Department 450, water, we have, I have a number of 6 million, so I have a number that we voted on, and please check me if you can, 6,948,421.72.
That's what I have.
That's what I have, but to your point, perhaps you would want to break it down in both, because really there is the operation and of 4,447,750,72, and the other part is really the finance, meaning the P&I, the debt.
Oh, okay.
Just for the principle of it, so that we can all be in sync that there is the operation and there is the debt, which is the principal and interest, if it's okay with you.
Certainly, particularly if there was a change. And it appears, so what is the difference between, okay, so I just wrote the number that was in the budget book. It was really dark and tiny, so the number that I have in the budget book. So certainly, let's talk to the changes then, right? So whoever gets there first can point us to the
Marie just
changes.
sent us a revised budget number.
Yeah,
Uh,
what she sent is the same that's in the spreadsheet that got sent
Okay.
out.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
So we have the principal account clerk is not being used, and that's, takes 49,498 out of the budget.
They don't get
Then
it
you
again
go
for
down
another
to the
year.
debt, where there are subtractions from new debt on the principal water system improvements and interest on the water system improvements.
All right. Thank you, Dan. So to that point, let's see.
Made our job easy there.
Right? Actually, what am I? So 6,948,421.
Was what we originally voted on.
All right. Why am I seeing
Seth, I don't
this?
think you can do it that way. We had a separate vote on the 4,247,000, and that's where I think you have to make the adjustment. So I think we need two separate votes.
Correct. I'm not sure, Bernard, do we need three separate votes? Because there's the vote on the 4 million less the 50,000 or so.
Yeah.
And then do we vote twice on the debt or just once?
Well, we voted on that on the 4 million. I don't have a record that we voted on the 6.9 million, although we might have done that. I just might have missed writing it in.
So we did vote on Department 450.
Yes. Is it 450? Yes, it is.
And so I might be, there's no change to Department 450, or am I?
That is incorrect. Do you want to come look at this?
I don't want to, yes, but I'm not going to. What number do you have? I swear I just had.
Look on the Excel
Hey,
spreadsheet.
Seth, what I see from Keegan for the new budget for 450 is 6,791,395.94. That's the expense and the P&I, Bernard. So I have a hard time trying to break it up because I can't really see from the budget book. So if anybody can have the numbers and can tie to 6791, 395, and 94 cents, then that's the right amount.
Yeah, I mean, I
think
can
we
run you through
first
that.
take a vote on the department 450, the salaries and expenses, which which was originally 4247, and we subtract from that the roughly $50,000
used.
Correct, Jack.
and then we take a second vote on the total.
Oh, that's
Jack,
how we
what was
did it.
that
You're
first
right.
number
You're
again?
right, Jack.
Say
Yes.
that again.
So the first we approved 4247 750.72.
Okay.
Now, if you subtract the amount that's for the new principal account clerk,
yep,
you come up with 419852.60.
Yeah, fine, but yeah.
I swear my spreadsheet.
Hey, one thing I want to point out to everybody in this spreadsheet, there is a tab for Department 450. I don't know if you're already on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm on.
On the detail tab? Okay.
Yep. If you go over to column U, you can see the two highlighted debt portions of where I don't really understand what's going on. But to Jack's point, if you go, just to the total for water, you can see the new total less the principal account clerk right there.
Yes, okay. I was going crazy, but I'm back. I was looking at column M because the headings weren't following me. So I froze my panes and now I see column U. Thank you for calling that out because I was having a moment here. All right. 6791. So.
Hey, hello, Seth, if it's okay with you, maybe just for a quick recap so we can be in sync. So to your point, in the budget book, I know that we all agree that it's pretty dark, but I had written the numbers very well last time and they all foot. So at least for all of us. So in the budget book, the total water, just the operation, the number is 4,247,750 cents. Then between the principal, interest, and debt service expense for water, that total is 2,700,671. It's made up of the principal of 1,755,622 plus 940,049 for the interest and 5,000. So all that sums up to what's in the book of 6,948,421.72. And when now we go to the workbook that you sent to us, if we subtract that, it's equating to exactly what's on sale U66 of minus 157,025 and 78 cents. So all the numbers foot. So big picture, department 450, that decrease of 157,025, 78 is for everything, including the debt and then including everything.
Okay, that makes sense, Bernard, and I would suggest that as long as everyone is in favor of quote-unquote everything in terms of the reduction across the entire budget here for Department 450, we could vote bottom line if we agree with the components. Bottom line meaning 6.8 from 6.95 to 6.79. I'm not saying we have to go there right this second if there's questions or concerns about line items, but if we agree that this is the reduced number of 6.79 is the right number, then we can vote it as is.
Yeah, so the number that Mary quoted is correct. It's for the operation and the principal, interest, and that little debt service expense.
Yep. Tom, you have go ahead. You're on mute, Tom.
I'm following all that. I agree with that.
You're on mute, Tom. All right, maybe,
And
Tom,
again,
you're on
you-
mute.
Tom, you're on mute.
Why can't he hear me? He can hear you.
Because I yelled.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Tom.
I was yelling louder. No,
What I said was-
that we vote on that revised number of 6791-395.94.
Did you?
I'm making a motion.
I second. All those in favor of the number that Tom just quoted? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 1 second, guys. Your pictures are gone, so Mike's gonna help us out here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 in favor, Tom.
Got it.
0 and 0.
Lucky Charms, Larry?
Tom, are you having
Salad.
your dessert now, by the way? You
Salad,
usually
Tom.
have dessert around this time. M&Ms or something. All right. Continuing on, soldiering on. Actually, was that the only,
No.
what about 460?
460 as well.
Yeah, 460.
Okay. So sewer, Department 460. Let's see. We have a reduction of $5,500.
This is Bernard, and it's the same thing here. On sewer, the component is between the operation and principal and interest, and the previous number used to be 1,700,584.74. And when looking at Mary's text here on the group chat, it's matching exactly that delta of 5,499.79, which is the reduction. So it's for everything as well. So all the numbers foot.
Right.
Agreed.
And that reduction was just a piece of the principal accounting clerk was allocated to the sewer department. Agreed?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so we had voted on the 1.7 million. And the number before us is 1.695. Everyone agrees with that and what the reduction is. Is there any reason or any commentary that anyone wants to bring to light on this, or should we just vote on the reduced number? Everyone in favor of that?
I
Okay.
think we should vote.
Yeah, let's vote.
Yeah,
All right.
I agree with that.
So I will make a motion to vote on Department 460 Sewer Department in the amount of $1,695,084.95.
All seconds. Oh.
All
95
seconds?
cents?
All of those in favor,
Second
please
that.
raise.
Paul?
Tom?
Okay.
Yep, Paul
I mean,
seconded. All those in
Dan?
favor, please raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so that's 10 in favor. 0 opposed, 0 abstain. Zero. And I think that's that's all the changes for Department of Public Works?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Maybe they're still on AOL.
They wouldn't be on this conference call if they were.
All right, thanks, everybody. So,
Yeah, that's a blast from the past right there.
Seth, I do have a question if there's no other items on the agenda.
sorry, Tom, you're asking if there's other items?
I was gonna say, if there's no other items, I do have one other question.
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, seeing as how they were able to squeeze in the CIP meeting just before all this happened, has there been any call to maybe retract any of the items on the capital improvement project budget?
So I know that it was a point of conversation, but I think that was still sort of internal within town management. I haven't heard of anything official coming out about reductions to the capital proposal as it stood several weeks ago when we first took a look at it. So, but that will have to be something that we get on an agenda and review amongst this committee.
Right, because that's not official until it's voted on at town meeting. And so if we don't address it before town meeting, it's certainly going to come up as maybe a 2-night event.
Yeah, no,
the town spend this kind of money when we're cutting every place else. And so, yeah, I think we need to make that the next couple of weeks to address that.
Absolutely, Tom. I think we're going to follow protocol there, and we will necessarily review the capital plan. Hopefully, we find out ahead of we'll find out ahead of time if there are any changes to that which was reviewed. So I was at the capital improvement plan, the committee meeting,
right,
and there was. So it was pretty enlightening in that what was proposed and what we came out of that meeting with was significantly different. So I think in the past there was maybe the perception that it was sort of a rubber stamp, and that's different. My experience is that it was quite different. Maybe in past years it was a little more liberal with what made it through the committee, but this year it was pretty tight, and it may get even tighter, but it was a pretty thorough process. But we absolutely will, to your point, Tom, review that plan before it goes to town meeting.
If there was any discussion regarding, because I mean we were already beginning to hear stories about the virus and stuff at that point. Was there any discussion in there as to?
So I think for one, I think the ambulance is something that so now that you say that, it's refreshing my memory a little bit, and I don't remember the specifics, but there was a new ambulance as part of that plan.
Right.
And I think that may not make it to us. If it did, I think we would have some serious discussion around a new ambulance at this point at close to $500,000 maybe. So more to come there.
Do you recall what the bottom line was that was voted on?
No, off the top of my head, I wouldn't even want to guess at this point. Let me look. You know what, Bernard? While I look back at my notes, Bernard, why don't you make?
Seth?
Yes, Bernard, please go ahead. Bernard?
Seth? Oh.
Yes.
No. Maybe to answer Tom's question, Tom, I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at on the group chat Mary's feedback.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, basically for everyone, Seth, what Mary feedback, she's saying that the CIP budget is being discussed, but nothing formal yet. Yeah. And then she wrote, the selectmen have not voted the budget yet, so they would have to vote and then the outcome. And then she had another point, $11,892,068 bottom line voted by Capital Improvement Committee.
Oh, people are going to love that. Okay.
So Tom, I don't know if you see the numbers on the group chat.
Yep.
Mary, thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Yes, thank you.
Marie.
Hey, Seth, I have a question, if I can ask real quick.
Of course, Larry.
Hey, Brian, can you update us on that personnel payroll meeting you attended? Not no? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I don't have too many notes right now, but I'll dig them up.
Okay, no rush.
Yep.
Fair enough. Thank you. So with that is basically, that's our agenda complete at this point. So I've mentioned to Larry, that will probably have sort of maybe I'll grab Bernard just based on his history as leadership on this committee, and just get together in sort of a smaller group and try to map out what our schedule is going to be, so that we have a good sense of how we're going to progress and complete all of our responsibilities that for our committee, including reviewing capital and all the other departments and articles that will come before us, the budget being the primary, of course. So there's that to do next week. I do expect we'll have Bill and George in, and we'll try to have that. We'll probably have to pack some more discussion and potentially votes into that evening. But let me do some work this week or ahead of next meeting to try to get a better sense of how to progress. And Larry and Bernard, as I mentioned, I'll probably be reaching out to you guys to get your thoughts on that as well. And if anyone else has thoughts or comments around scheduling, feel free to reach out. But that's more to come there.
Hey, Seth, real quick. So I just wanted to add that you're doing a lot of work that we don't have to participate in. So thank you and Larry and the rest of the folks for that. I watched the Saturday morning CIP meeting, and that was pretty long and intense.
Yeah.
But I had the option to turn off the TV. You did not. So thank you for that as well.
Yeah, no, it's appreciate it, Paul, and it's keeps it interesting, right? And maybe you guys will all filter through this type of role in the future. So,
Sure, I've been there before. I know what it's like, Seth.
Yeah. It's works for me. I'm happy to do my part, and as are you guys. There's some scheduling and stuff, but you guys are as involved as I am with everything else other than that. So I appreciate all your work and efforts, support of the town.
Hey, we had perfect attendance tonight.
Yeah.
Where else we gonna be?
Right? You guys are set up as like a perfect upside down pyramid. You get somehow. Oh no, actually not. Never mind. It looks like it went like this, but I digress.
That's where we're at.
So, any other questions, comments, or anything to add before we conclude for the evening? I think this was a productive start back. So thanks for all your time and for accommodating the virtual meeting that we have here.
Hey, can I just ask one more question here? I'm sorry, I keep bringing these things up. I've seen them before, but I did watch that what Larry posted on the BOS from last week. Bob Cutler was pretty, straightforward. I've known him to be a straight shooter all the time. He did not mention anything about any relaxation of the meeting out of session rules. So, like you said, let's just make sure that if we're meeting, I guess, more than two people, that it's announced, I guess.
Is it two people, Tom?
About having a small session between you, Larry, Bernard, and whatever, but I'm not sure whether or not that something would constitute as being a meeting and part of the open meeting violation. So just want to check with Bob Cutler on that.
Okay.
Setting up any subcommittees.
Yep, that's a good point, Tom. And I just my thought, my understanding was less than a quorum, but I will check in with Bob and make sure that 3 or less is just sort of a discussion amongst chums rather than any kind of public meeting. I'll validate that. So it's a good point. Thank you for that.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Hey, Tom, just to clarify, I think Seth is just looking to plan out the schedule for AdCom for the rest of the year. We're not discussing any policy or any votes or anything. It's just to make sure we have a timetable to make sure we get everything done before the town meeting.
I am not implying any subterfuge.
I
just want to make sure that people who are now we're in front of everybody here. Just make sure that people are saying, "Oh, wait."
I know.
Hearing off, just want to make sure.
Good point. I just want to put it out there that we're not voting or discussing anything except to set the timeline so we can get everything done. That's all.
Right, because the posting of the agenda still is under the same 48 hours, right? Still, there's no change on that kind of stuff, so. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I found out the hard way that that's a very hard and fast, strict
Yes,
rule.
that
So,
is a very hard, fast
so I
rule.
will need, so to your point, I will need to turn this around. You know, I'd like to have it turn, you know, in by Friday, and Friday is a short day in town hall. I think it still is, so I like to have it done by Friday. So I'm going to try to put something together and pretty quickly. So you may hear from me in the next day or so.
Sounds great.
Good.
I appreciate that. So unless there's anything else, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. All those in favor? That would be everybody. Okay, 10 in favor. Thanks very much, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Good
Take
night.
care.